Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us for our digital Q&A session here with Shradha Angrish.
Hello.
Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that I'm speaking to you from traditional Ghana land. I recognise their connection to the land, waters and skies, and I pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. So I extend these respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. My name is Leah. I'm a space communicator here at the Australian Space Discovery Centre. Today, I'm assisted behind the scenes by our tech, Tegan. If you have any questions during the Q&A, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A chat, and I'll be sure to pass them on to our guest here. One last piece of housekeeping. Our session will be wrapping up at 2:45 Australian Central Standard Time today. But we invite you to give us any questions that we didn't get to answer to the website. If you look at our website on the Australian Discovery Centre website, there'll be links there for you to contact. Today's a special one, as I'm joined by our space expert here today, who actually happens to be my co-worker. Shradha, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us here at the Australian Space Discovery Centre. Would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
I would love to. All right, so as Leah said, I am a space communicator here at the Australian Space Discovery Centre at the headquarters of the Australian Space Agency in Australia. And basically that means that I talk about space. A lot of people, when I tell them I'm a space communicator, they go, oh, so you talk to astronauts on the International Space Station? And unfortunately, that's not what I do. It's more about, we have visitors ranging from, 5-year-olds who ask you if the moon is made of cheese to people who work in the space industry themselves and they want to, ask specifically, what is Australia doing in the space industry? Or you'll have people who just are completely not familiar with space at all, and they ask some amazing questions as well. And so my job is to answer them, as is yours. And also I run programs and presentations, and the main goal is to help share my knowledge and my passion for space with visitors.
I can attest to that. That's a great explanation. Thank you.
So apart from my job, which is cool, I am also almost an engineer and computer scientist, so I am studying for this double degree. And we've got a few photos up on the screen. We've got me with the first rocket I ever built and launched. At the bottom there, I'm holding kind of like a rover, but it's a student project, so it doesn't look very pretty. Then there's me at my internship working on satellites, another rover at the top. And I didn't have a photo for this, so I just added like a graphic of. It's basically a lot of studying. So it's, courses like thermodynamics, and for computer science, I do like algorithms and things like that. And so when people say, well, it's not that hard, it's not rocket science, I get to say, well, actually, it really is. So that's what I'm doing most of the time. And I recently returned from a study exchange in France, where I studied Aerospace and Aeronautical Engineering in Supérieur in Toulouse, which was super cool. I was there for 6 months, and I think I've been back in Adelaide now for around a month. So still getting back into things, I have a list of like reverse culture shocks that I've experienced. So that was also a lot of studying. So that's the graphic on the left there. I got to visit a lot of countries all around Europe and meet a lot of cool people. The photo on the right is probably one of my favorite photos that I took in my time abroad. I think that's in Switzerland, which I was going
to ask, is that where you studied? Or?
No.
Okay.
I was on campus, so literally just like a block away from all my classes. But during breaks and all of these things, because in Australia, we are so far away from everything else. It's like, if you're going to go to Europe, you might as well go to the other countries, apart from, so it wasn't just France. I went to quite a few countries, which was really nice. And I met some incredible people from all around the world, not just locals, also people who had come for that study exchange, like myself, from all around. But that was really cool. I can speak a little bit of French now, but Don't ask me to do that.
Okay.
Live TV. It's not all rocket science. So some of my hobbies are here on the screen. I am a dancer. I love dancing. I've cycled through a lot of different dance styles through my life. I also love music. So I play 3 instruments and sing, and sometimes I write songs. I love reading, and at the bottom left there is my dog Toffee. She is very new, and she is a toy cavoodle. And at the top right, I've got another space photo. So that is me and Australian astronaut Catherine Winnelpeg. She is Australia's first astronaut, technically speaking. And this was a time where I got to interview her, not through my job, but just, I love doing space stuff even outside of my engineering and work-related things. So like I'll go to a lot of networking events, or I'll organize events and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of, I think that gives you a good idea of me as a person.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you for that. It sounds like you had a really great time in France.
Yeah.
And but I will just first start by asking you, what led you to wanting to become a space communicator?
Yeah, so it's in the title. You've got space and communication. I'm a massive space enthusiast. I think space is amazing, and I also love talking.
Of course.
I think it's a great job where you can share your love for space and your knowledge about it without it being super technical.
Yeah.
And you're also getting to engage a lot of soft skills that in a lot of other space careers, for example, like being an aerospace engineer, you wouldn't engage so many of your soft skills. So it's a great opportunity to do that. And it's a good balance basically of technical and non-technical sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Well, and I love talking to people.
Yeah.
So you get to meet so many types of people, so many different backgrounds, people from all of these different countries, different levels of how much they know about space. And so, yeah, it's just amazing.
Awesome. Did you always know you wanted to work in the space industry?
I wouldn't say so. I think there have definitely been like a certain chaining of events that has led me to it. Sure, yes, as a kid, I was really interested in space, but it wasn't like oh yes, I'm going to go up and become an astronaut, or I'm going to go up become an aerospace engineer. But I got really fortunate with some of the exposures that I was able to get. For example, when I was little, this one time I went to a space camp where we looked at the stars from telescopes, and I thought, wow, that's so cool. We can see all these planets. And I've when I was doing actually my subject selections in high school, that's a very critical time for people deciding what sort of pathway they want to take in their careers. I had this amazing opportunity to visit NASA in the US, and I remember watching my first time ever watching a rocket launch, and there was so much adrenaline in my body. There was all these sounds, and you can sort of feel the pressure. And I remember standing there thinking, it's going to be people my age that are going to grow up and then work in this industry. Why not me? And so luckily also, as soon as I came back from that trip, I did like a work experience program just here at Lot 14 in Australia, Adelaide. So I got to see, the parallels between, we have this sort of at home as well. So, I think that was definitely oh my gosh, I'm definitely going to work in the space industry moment. So then I did subjects like maths and physics, and then it just set me up well to keep feeding into that fire and keep feeding into that dream of wanting to pursue a space career in engineering.
So would you say it wasn't just this one big defining moment that just sparked it, but instead just all these little bits of exposures, like you said, that really, I guess, cultivated this passion for space?
I mean, I think you can definitely call some of those events like big events.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's every day that, you know, somebody gets to go.
Oh,
on a
I wish I
trip
went
to
to NASA. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a pretty big deal. But definitely it's kind of this like sliding doors moment where there's just so many things that could have happened. You know, it's
Yeah.
kind of like the butterfly effect where
Yeah.
who knows, maybe there's an alternate universe, if parallel universes exist, we don't know. Maybe there's a universe in which I'm doing something completely different because I had an
like
interaction.
dancing maybe.
Yeah, I could be a doctor. I could
Yeah.
just be like doing something completely different. So I think it's definitely about exposures that you get, and the people that you meet, and you know where, because you need to be in spots where the inspiration can reach you.
Yeah.
So
Of course. Okay, I'm going to ask you a few more questions about your space communicator role. What is the most exciting part of your job as a space communicator?
Probably the most exciting part is just watching, like getting to witness somebody get that sort of like childhood fascination with space back in their eyes.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we go out and a lot of people, especially if you're not in this industry, you're not looking at things like stars and stuff. And then you enter back, and for a lot of people, it's like reconnecting with that bit of childhood.
Yeah.
You know, because as children, I feel like most of us just were like really fascinated by space. Or sometimes I'll get like burning questions that somebody will come in and ask, and it's maybe a question that they didn't find a satisfactory answer to on the internet. You know, maybe for example, somebody's in a particular industry and they want to transition to space, and maybe they've looked at resources online, but it's like not really doesn't feel relevant or applicable to them being in Australia, and so they can just come and ask us, and it's not like we're gonna say to them, hey, you should apply for this role. Maybe we will, I don't know, but you know, it depends on the case. But we'll be that human sort of it's a human interaction that often you can see helps people feel understood, and it helps them feel guided. And so watching somebody come in with a question like that and then leave with like an answer and they're like satisfied with their answer.
Yeah.
Or even just like, and I'm sure you can agree as well, like being asked questions that you don't know the answer to as well. No, like if you ask something that you don't know the answer to, and then that kind of also engages your curiosity, you're like, you know what? Why is it like that? You're right. That's a good question to have. Let's go and find it out together. It's the kind of thing. No. So there's just so many things.
Yeah. Personally, one of my favorite parts is when I learn from questions that are asked to me. So when I don't know an answer and I get to go and research it myself, and it just makes, I guess, our jobs as space communicators really interesting. Just by constantly learning more and more space facts every day.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. No. And I'll hit you with this question. Is there a question that you can think of that's been your favorite question that someone's come in and asked?
Ooh. This is a tough one.
Hey, no, it's a tough one.
This is a really tough one. I get asked so many questions, and
we do have a lot of visitors.
This might be very unexpected, but when you have like a small child come in and ask you, how do they go to the toilet in space? And you know, they have like sparks in their eyes, and they're like, you can tell that on some level they want to be an astronaut and like this, and then you actually tell them. Actually, do I tell them, or do I let people? Actually, if you want to find out, you have to come to the Australian Space Discovery Centre and ask a space communicator, or research in your own time.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, I do work here, but it's not the question itself. I often love watching the reactions to the answers. Yeah. So this is an example of a question that, you know, like somebody will ask and then I will answer, and then I get to watch their reaction. And that can be a really special moment because, you know, once you know the answer, you know it, you know, like that's not exciting on that level.
But just the other people react to it.
It's kind of like when you read a really good book and then you go, I wish I could read it for the first time again.
Yeah.
And you have to find information for the first time again.
Okay, we've been talking about the positives.
Yeah.
But while this might still be a positive thing, What are the challenges that you've come across as a space communicator?
Something that I think can be quite challenging as a space communicator to deal with is when you are presenting to an audience which has mixed levels of technical backgrounds or even interest, you know. So you might have somebody who doesn't know like even the ISS stands for the International Space Station, and then you've got somebody else asking questions about SSA, space situational awareness, and all of these things, you know. And so being able to engage both or like multiple kinds of audiences in the same presentation, that can often be a challenging task. And so what I've learned from that is, you know, you can't make everybody happy all the time, but you can sort of, you know, go in and out, in and out. And so a little bit of technical, sprinkle in a little bit of fun, and then so that's definitely something that can be often challenging.
Yeah, while it is challenging, it does, I guess, give us skills to be able to communicate to different kinds of people.
Yeah.
All right, this is a pretty big question here. Why is science communication important?
You know, science is, it's not just for people who have gone to uni for a bajillion years and are doing that particular thing. Like, science affects us all, no matter your background, and everybody should be able to be a part of it. You know, everybody should be able to access that knowledge. Everybody should be able to understand what's happening currently in the world around them, and science communication bridges that gap between the people who are like doing PhDs and all of that stuff, or who are, you know, sending up satellites and all of these things, and the general public. And then also it helps broaden your sort of thinking a little bit, because I think once you're out of your education, you're out of school and university, you're very, you can be in a bit of like an echo chamber within your industry. And so you're like, for a lot of people coming to the Discovery Center, for example, or just like watching videos online and stuff of science communicators explain things, can be a very impactful way to go, oh, okay, this is what's happening. This is how this happens. And you know, it's just prevents that sort of falling up in one kind of thinking as well. And I could go on and on and
That's a brilliant answer. Yeah.
Thank you.
And on that note, are there any skills that you feel that you've developed in your time as a space communicator?
This particular skill of, you know, being able to communicate technical knowledge in a way that is digestible to an audience that isn't necessarily from a technical background, I think that is a super, super important skill. And it has come in handy so many times in engineering, when, you know, you are looking for sponsors, or you are just in so many ways, you're talking to a client or things like that. So I think this ability to be able to communicate technical things to non-technical people, non-technical things to technical people, because that also can be challenging as well. So yeah, that's that communication skill. I think that is really a very valuable transferable skill.
Yeah, okay, nice. So you're an inspiring engineer. So how do you think that these skills might help you in the future, in a future career?
I feel like engineers often don't get to develop these sorts of soft skills. Our education is very technical.
Yeah.
And it needs to be, because there is a lot to learn, and we do a lot of maths, and sometimes you're just kind of holed up in your room, you're doing a lot of maths. And but the real, like, if you were to pick between an engineer who has soft skills versus somebody who, because they both have the same degree, they both have the technical skills, so it definitely gives you a bit
of course. Could you clarify with us, what is your exact degree?
Yes, so my exact degree is very long, and I would like to recite it. It is a bachelor's in mechanical engineering with an honors, with a major in aerospace, with mathematical and computer science, but I'm focusing on computer science.
How's that going to fit on a certificate?
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, soon enough. Why did you decide to pursue engineering? I mean, you mentioned going over to America and watching that rocket take off, but is there anything else that really pushed you in the engineering direction? Yeah.
I love being challenged,
Yeah.
and I love making things and solving problems.
Mhm.
So in the sort of space arena and where I was at the time in high school, in my studies, like my interest and everything, it just seemed to align with subjects like physics and maths and all of these things. And then it boiled down to a decision between science or engineering.
Yeah.
And I realized that I liked making things and like physical objects.
Yeah.
Which engineering doesn't have to always be that. But I just found that it engaged my creativity a little bit more than just plain science. And which I'm not saying science is not the way to do, but it just wasn't.
We love science over here.
Yeah.
We are science communicators.
Yeah.
So then how about why majoring in aerospace then? Because that's quite a niche field. I mean, it might be obvious already why aerospace, but are there any other reasons that push you towards, I guess, aerospace instead of, because the space industry uses a lot of other majors such as mechatronics, mechanical. There are so many other aspects. Why aerospace in particular?
I'll be so real with you. I think
it sounded cool.
Yeah.
Me too.
Look,
let's be real.
But also the subjects that it requires you to do to get a major in aerospace were exactly the subjects that I wanted to do. Like
most
design and all of those kinds of
subjects.
So
which one of those subjects has been your favorite so far?
Ooh,
I do the same subjects, by the way, so I want to see if we have the same answer here.
You're gonna watch this turn into a fight? No. Oh man, okay. I feel like being in France has also sort of like rewritten my memories.
Of course.
But I think one that I really remember was called Design Practice, and it was a course that it was.
I loved that one. I think that one's a crowd favorite.
Yeah,
because it's super hands-on.
We would do like an optional project in that one.
Yeah,
which was super cool.
Yeah. No, going back to the engineering side though.
Yeah.
Were you always good at maths and physics? You can be so real with us.
Okay, so as like in primary school, like we're talking like primary school, I used to hate maths. I wouldn't say I was ever like I just had this thing. I just didn't like maths. Okay, and I knew that I wasn't gonna do that in primary school.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm gonna go dancing and I'm gonna do music. But I grew out of that when I started. I suppose physics was my way to like maths. So it was when I started learning physics, and then it was like, oh, there's actually a reason to go through all of this.
Yeah.
Then it became a necessary step to get to the application side, as opposed to, oh, I'm just doing maths for the sake of maths.
Yeah.
So then I got really good at it, practiced a lot.
She is really good.
And then I started liking it through physics.
Yeah. Well, here at the Australian Space Discovery Centre, we emphasise that there are so many different space careers.
Yeah.
So what would your advice be to someone that isn't so good at maths and physics like yourself and wants to work in the space industry?
You're so fine. You don't have to fit the molds that you see, because all of those molds are, being broken. Like growing up, like I'm sure this was also the case for you. I mean, all of the people in my classes would be men. And so there can be this like subconscious thing that holds you back, that goes, oh, I'm not like the people who do this thing.
Yeah.
But there are so many options. You can be a space lawyer, you can be a space psychologist, you can be a space doctor. you can do Space Communicator. You can,
Yeah, like that.
yes, exactly. So I feel like anything that you can think of, there's probably some application that you could go in the space sort of field.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would just definitely require some creative thinking, and it can be difficult forging your own path as opposed to, you know, following in the footsteps that are already made.
Yeah.
But it's definitely possible.
Of course. Well, if you weren't studying aerospace engineering,
Yeah.
what space career might you pursue instead?
I think I could be a space communicator forever.
Oh, yes, we do love our job.
Yes.
So fair. Okay, well, you mentioned in your presentation that you have recently come back from your time in France.
Mhm.
What was your university name again?
It was called Institut Supérieur.
Awesome. And I know that that's a very, very good aerospace engineering university. I think it's the first and maybe the top or one of them.
It's definitely one of the
It's
top.
one of the top, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it felt like it.
Yeah. Besides the prestige,
Yeah.
what brought you to applying for the program?
I was researching Toulouse, and it's sort of this place where, you know, you've got just so many aerospace things happening, or aeronautical even. You've got Airbus headquarters, and all of these things. And so even when I went there, I saw this actually, that there were just so many space people, you know, and so that was really appealing. And then also, I guess it was just a case of I wanted to do a study exchange again for that exposure, as I said, because you never know what doors that opens for you, and experience is always good. And as I was looking through my options, Superior was definitely one that, you know, because it's so focused on exactly what I want to do, as opposed to a university that does all of these other areas of study as well, as opposed to aeronautical and aerospace engineering. So that really drew me. And plus, I was interested in learning a new language. So
yeah,
French was.
No, awesome. Well, what courses did you take, and did you have a favorite one? You mentioned about how it's kind of blurring of, you know, your university journey.
Yeah, I did. Okay, so I did French language and culture.
Oh, awesome.
So that was probably my favorite one.
Yeah, just a little break from all the engineering subjects.
Yeah. I mean, it's been so long since I've done that kind of
like being able to do something that's not engineering. In engineering, by the way, we have no electives that aren't engineering.
They're not going to do engineering. It's great.
It is fun, don't get me wrong, we love engineering, but something great about, I guess, high school was that we used to have that
that breadth.
Yes,
you could do other courses as well, which is also partly why I think developing your soft skills in these other ways as an engineer is super important, because you're not doing those courses, you're only doing technical courses. So but okay, the courses I did in France were the French course. There was preliminary aircraft design. I'm going to mess this up because it's a really long one. Representation, control, and analysis of dynamic systems.
Oh, wow.
It was like control theory.
Yeah.
And aerodynamics and propulsion, and aircraft structures.
Wow. Sounds like a lot. Wasn't 4, was
this 5 courses including French.
5 courses including French. Oh, wow. You must have been busy.
Yeah, for sure. But we made time to go exploring and traveling.
Oh, of course, like we saw in your presentation, of course.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite, and then what was your least favorite, like the most challenging one?
I think my favorite in the technical courses would have been preliminary aircraft design, because basically the way that course was taught was in a way that we just had like a semester long project. And so we would do like the first part, the second part, the third part. And so it didn't feel like, you know, textbook, read your textbook and do your, it felt very hands-on and very engaging. And then probably my least favorite was aircraft structures. which was surprising because I
That's
had
surprising. They
already.
sound very, hand in hand.
No.
Okay.
The structures was a lot. Like, it was a lot of just well, it was like FEM and things like that, which I have. It was interesting because it was all concepts that I had come across before, and I thought I would be fine with.
Yeah.
But the way of teaching was so different.
Right.
That or also, like, sometimes depending on the country you're from, they'll use different words or names to describe the same concept or same equation. So I think that's also what sort of tripped me up a little bit.
Yeah, be very confusing.
Yeah.
Well, what was the workload like then, as compared to workload here in Australia?
I don't think it was too different, but the way we approached that was definitely very different. So, for example, in an Australian university, I'm generalizing here massively, but
just from experience,
and people from other universities in Australia that I've spoken to, you don't always have to go into university every single day. It's your lectures are often recorded, so you can just go in for your tutorials or your workshops, go in for your exams and tests or practicals, and lectures you can watch at home. So you're not in class all the time. Whereas when I was at Supérieur, we would go to class at like 8 or 9 a.m., be in class until 12, then have a lunch break, and then be in class again for another 3 or 4 hours. But the interesting thing was, in that lunch break, there was no work. The French people take their lunches and meals very seriously.
Yeah.
And so in Australia, often what I might do is, and I see this very often even in the people around me in industry and at university, you're doing your work and you're taking a bite of your lunch and you're doing like a working lunch situation. Not in France.
Do you think that this structure is a testament to Australia's kind of laid back culture, or do you think it's to do with the fact that you went to such a prestigious university?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
There's.
We're less wondering.
Yeah. Somebody needs to go to a different French university and let me know.
Yeah. I mean, if any French people are tuning in today, let us know.
Yeah.
Do you maybe remember a reverse culture shock? So when you came back to Adelaide,
everybody was speaking English and in the same accent, and I hadn't had
lovely Australian accents.
Yeah.
Did you feel at home?
I felt like it was just so Australian.
Yeah. Fair enough.
You leave the country for 6 months and then you come back and then you realize, oh, this is what somebody who is not from this country would see.
Yeah.
When you're so used to you're waking up in Australia every single day, you just write off so many things as like, okay, that's just normal, that's just every day, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the way people speak, the way people think, the way people are like, oh, the beach is just, just right there.
Yeah.
But also, it was also interesting to see so many European people describe what they thought Australia was like.
Yeah. What do they say? We ride on kangaroos.
The questions I got asked were crazy. They're like, oh, so like, do you like sleep and there's like spiders crawling on your face? And
what is this idea that winters are fine with insects?
Yeah. So you must like not be afraid of snakes and spiders.
I wish.
Oh no.
No. Well, do you have any advice then to any students that are thinking of studying abroad but a bit hesitant?
Do it.
Just do it.
Because I think it's okay. Think of it like this, right? If you have a storybook, I was just explaining this to somebody. If you have a storybook and there's a character drawn on the page and they're 2-dimensional, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't explain to them what it's like to be a three-dimensional person.
Oh, wow, what an analogy.
But it's kind of like that. Like, I can't explain what that did to me in like the way I think, what I know, and all of these things. Yeah. Obviously, you have to think about a lot of things. That it's a very big decision to.
But I guess in general, you just say do it.
I think if the only thing preventing you from doing it is like.
Like knowing, kind of tossing up.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, that's probably one of my biggest regrets with uni was to not go on the exchange. It looked like you had a fabulous time. and that you learnt and gained so much from it, not only just studying, but also from the people that you met and all the experiences you had, especially in a university that's completely dedicated to aerospace.
I think there are definitely, like, study exchanges are great, but if you didn't do one, it doesn't mean you missed out completely, because you're still interact with people who are different. And, you know, there's always like smaller study tours that are.
And you yourself went on one, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last year. One in Japan.
Yeah. And that was for a subject, was it?
Yeah, that was for manufacturing. So we went to all these manufacturing.
Miss Worldwide. Yeah. Well, awesome. What would you say about doing extracurriculars in uni? So I know that you did quite a lot of ones that were related to engineering. Do you think that those are very, useful for your career?
For sure, because especially with student projects, you actually, because your engineering degree is offering you all the technical knowledge, your textbook knowledge, and then student projects are a way for you to have fun with, building things and seeing what happens if you launch a rocket and stuff like that, which is a great opportunity. I think we're really privileged here in Australia to be able to do things like that. Yeah,
I'm seeing a question in our Q&A from Riet. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, sorry. Hi Shradha, enjoying the Q&A. Awesome, thank you. Any advice on how to encourage female school students to consider to pursue computer science? We run a program to introduce and encourage areas of STEM where females are underrepresented and have a great resources for engineering, and keen to get more computer science girls. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I think this is definitely, I have seen so many of my friends, and I have felt this as well myself, you walk into a classroom and then everybody there just looks different, right? So it can often be I'm not the currently what seems to be the standard person doing engineering or computer science, therefore this is not the career for me. But that is not the case at all. I think it also then comes down to exposure and letting young girls, or even people who are out of school and all of that, to reconnect with their actual, just make that connection with the subject and not the society.
For sure.
So because something that helps me when I was younger, and that I had my moments of like, I don't know, I don't want to be in this class, which was rare, but it's just happened. And when it happens, it can feel like, I'm not a math person, I'm a computer science person. You can have all of these thoughts, but if you actually sit and maybe it's like a computer science assignment that you're working on, or if it's a project that you're getting to do through an outreach program or something like that, then your brain is more focused on your connection with that subject, and you're reminded that no, you actually do belong in that space. That is something that you are interested in, and therefore you should definitely do it. So it's more about, letting that have more power than people who tell you this is something.
And so if you could talk to your younger self as a young girl, what advice would you give her?
I think I feel like I wouldn't. I think there have been so many lessons that I have figured out in my own way through. But something that I would tell maybe my high school self is to get more sleep.
For sure, sleep is very important.
Yeah.
And especially in the subjects that we've taken in our course, something like computer science or engineering requires a lot of attention. So yes, always putting your health first. Definitely great advice there. Okay, well, it is 2:43. We're going to wrap up our session now. It's all the time that we have for today. Thank you for joining us and listening to our space guest, Shradha. Thank you so much. You've been fantastic, and you've answered all the questions very, very well. If you'd like to learn more about space in Australia, If you have any questions that are unanswered, be sure to come visit us in the Australian Space Discovery Centre or visit our website and contact us with the links there. Yeah, thank you for joining us, everyone.